When it comes to investing, you want to be sure that the company that is working for you is working in your best interest as well as theirs. To give us some insight into the responsibility of investment advisors, we have in studio with us today financial advisor Jonathan McCoy. Jonathan, some of the national box store you know what I'm trying to say.
One or two times, yeah.
Those commercials, they throw around the word fiduciary like it's unique to them and them only. For those who aren't familiar, what is fiduciary?
Well, usually fiduciary is the word that trips everyone up.
All right,
so,
and no, not today.
yeah, so fiduciary can be described a couple of different ways in our industry. Usually it's simply put as the advisor is required to put your best interest ahead of the interest of their business. Essentially what that means as a financial advisor is we're not allowed to make recommendations in terms of how the business or how the advisor is going to be compensated. We can't pick and choose investments based on how we're being paid. So as a fiduciary, we're literally looking at the entire horizon of investments that might be available for that potential client and making a recommendation based on what we think is going to keep them happiest and achieve their financial goals as opposed to how we're being paid as advisors. So at Market Advisor Group, we are proud to be fiduciaries as well.
Perfect. And in retirement planning, we're wondering, is an investment portfolio a safer bet than a pension? I mean, what happens if you have a pension and that company happens to go bankrupt?
Well, there's advantages and drawbacks to both, right? I mean, we've even seen some state pension programs that are at risk of not necessarily going bankrupt, but needing some sort of bailout. We've heard that with various pension programs throughout the last century or more in our country. So pensions do have some risk, but generally speaking, from an income standpoint, pensions are one of the safest options you have, right? You look at Social Security pensions, different types of annuities, they're all similar types of vehicles giving you a lifetime income stream. But if the company that you have the pension with goes bankrupt, and especially we see this risk with employee stock purchase plans or stock ownership of that company specifically, if the company no longer exists, all that value that you may have owned at some point, you think of some of the dot-com bust companies back in the early 2000s, many people had their entire life savings wrapped up in one company's stock, and that can be a huge risk too.
What a scary situation.
Yeah, very much.
We do have a viewer question. This one is from Tom. Tom asks, I've been a do-it-yourselfer when it comes to my retirement planning, and I think I've done pretty good. Can I have one of your free consultations to see if my investment strategy is on track?
Yeah, so we talk about a spectrum of people, right? And Tom talking about himself as a do-it-yourselfer, kind of managing his own investments, probably projecting where his income is going to be coming from. Being on top of those things yourself, it indicates that you're educating yourself in a good manner. So that's a great starting place. A lot of the folks that we talk to, they've worked their 9 to 5 their entire career, put money into their 401k, and never really looked at, okay, well, how do I turn this whole thing into an income stream for retirement? But that's why we do offer the one-on-one consultation. Even for folks that are managing their own investments, getting a different perspective can sometimes be an eye-opener to understand what you might be missing from an income planning standpoint, from a tax management standpoint. We find is the biggest missing piece for people managing their own investments is not knowing how to wrangle the tax code, which is difficult for anybody without the help of our tax team.
So even for someone like Tom who's tackling it himself, you guys probably could still help.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Jonathan, thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Grace.
To schedule a complimentary consultation and submit your questions, visit AskOurAdvisor.com or call 816-548-2000. They'll take your questions and meet with you one-on-one free of charge. If you include your address, Market Advisory Group will send you a free gift.